All right. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have questions about what is kidney disease and why are my kidneys failing and why don't I just get a transplant? Well, it's not quite that simple. So first, I'm going to go into what is kidney disease. Kidney disease is something that develops over time when your kidneys gradually start to lose functionality. For those of you who remember, when I initially got sick with HLH, somewhere along the way, my kidneys started taking significant damage. Not so much from the disease itself, but more so from the drugs I had to take in order to help me fight off the disease. I took an assortment of different drugs called, one was called cyclosporin, and the other one was called acyclovir. So I had to take these drugs, but a side effect from those drugs is damage to the kidneys. Unfortunately, my kidneys were damaged as a result. So, added to my pre existing kidney function, my kidneys were subsequently damaged as a result of me taking these drugs to help me with another disease. So, if this works out, there should be a graph that pops up right about here. So as you can see, everybody's kidney function is measured by this graph, and the graph goes from 5 to 1 or 0. Because I don't have it right in front of me, but as kidney function decreases, you start to gradually slip into each category. So mine went from 3, which was what it was at, to 4, which I think is like 29 to 15%. So my kidney function right now, at this moment, the last time I was at the nephrologist, which was a couple of weeks ago, was at 23%. And unfortunately, it's dropping. So once that happens, that means that I'll either have to choose dialysis or not choose dialysis. And or wait for a transplant. Now, getting a transplant is not as easy as going to your local Walmart and just picking up a new kidney. That's not exactly how it works. You got to be put on a waiting list, like any sort of transplant. Like, for example, with the HLH, what could have helped me was a bone marrow transplant, but evidently, from the prognostication of my doctors, they were saying that I wasn't sick enough to warrant me needing a bone marrow transplant. So, that being said, I'm still always at risk of getting HLH again. So, I'm not cured. The HLH have just subsided. But with kidney disease, it's still the same thing. I still have to be put on this huge waiting list for a donor. And that could take years. That could take years and years for me to find a donor. And up until that point, I would need dialysis. And honestly, that's like the worst case scenario for me, because that's not what I wanted to happen. Like, out of all of the things, that's the one thing that I didn't want to happen, and it's happening. But this is more of a detailed explanation as to what is happening, as far as like, well, what is kidney disease? Well, what happens to you when you need a kidney, but your kidneys aren't working, or what's happening? Because your kidneys are very, very important. Your kidneys are a filter organ. They filter out blood and bacteria in your body, so that way toxins don't build up and you get sick. So in order to do that, you need to be hooked up to a machine for 3 to about 4 hours. So it's very similar to how I would get chemotherapy. The etoposide is chemotherapy and blood transfusion. So they would hook me up to a machine, and the machine would filter out my blood. Kind of like changing the oil in a car. So that's pretty much what it is. And that's pretty much the situation that I find myself in right now. Now, I'm not making these videos, pity part, oh, feel sorry for me, but it's just a detailed explanation of what happens when your kidneys stop working. And that's all it is. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm sure some of you might not, but still, if you have any questions, just, give me a heads up, or, do some research. It's always important to know more things. So just do some research. If not on this, then, if there's something, here's the thing, that if you get afflicted with something, don't just leave it up to chance, okay? Do the research. Find out what it is that's wrong with you. Find out to the most minute detail what exactly it is that you have and what exactly it is that's wrong with you. Because it's better to know and deal with it than not know and then develop a bunch of problems later. That's just my 2 cents. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.